question. Again, I'm giving tough questions tonight, everyone. Many of us have experienced the death of a friend or a loved one. So I'm asking, has this happened to you, and how were you able to make peace with it and continue living? So I'd like to have Marilyn answer that first.
Great question. Yes. And yes, I have had several friends and loved ones, relatives transition, sometimes directly before an event that I couldn't actually respond to that event. I couldn't respond to the loss at that moment. And and you know, Monica, it is tough to realize that sometimes it's tough anyway to realize that this bodysuit that we're in um, gives out on us. And the human, the soul, the energy of that person does live on. And I think that is really the way I handle it. When it's fascinating when my mother transitioned, um, she had been in the hospital for a few weeks, and had a group scheduled to Thailand in the middle of the 1st of November. This was in the middle of October. And I was thinking, what am I going to do? I can't leave my mom in the hospital and go to Thailand. And I honestly believe she caught that feeling and talked all night long one night and was talking her way into the afterlife, saying, listen, my daughter's got to go to Thailand. I'm done here. You need to take me on out. And it was funny at the moment, even though of course I miss her. But the thing is life is a transition. Life goes on. I've always accepted reincarnation. I've always accepted the symbol of moving forward in other lifetimes, other existences, even on other planets. And so I think when somebody transitions, even though I may be sad because I miss them here in this plane, I miss their company, I miss their energy, I miss their experiences, I miss laughing and talking with them, I miss our communication. I still know that they are present in my life continually, and that I can communicate with them, I can talk with them, I can experience their energy in a different way. It's kind of like I'm not a medium. I can, throughout around, I get to that connection in the afterlife. So, but for other people I can, but I really can't necessarily for myself. But I still know that, the afterlife is a part of our transition. The afterlife is a part of our existence. And it's interesting. I've had people ask me, can I leave now so I can be with my child or my spouse or my loved one in the afterlife now? And it's like, well, that's a decision that you can make, but you may still have things to do here. And it's a matter of realizing that just because the bodysuit stops working effectively does not mean that your soul, your energy, your frequency stops then as well. It goes on, and you get the opportunity to view things from a different perspective. I know my mother is watching over me, as is my father. We're both very good people. And as a matter of fact, there was a channeling from Kryon. I think we were in Hawaii when Kryon actually mentioned my mother's presence. And as far as I know, he didn't know that my mother had just passed 2 months before that. Actually mentioned my mother's approval for what I was doing at that moment, at that time. It was so powerful. And so, in dealing with the transition of someone that I love, someone that I care about, it's a matter of just accepting and realizing that we celebrate their life regardless as to whether their bodysuit is here or it's not. And I may still miss them, but they're in a wonderful place and many times are preparing to return either during my lifetime or during another lifetime. So it's never an end all. I've had clients that are feel completely broken without their spouse or their loved one. And I just hold them in love as I held myself in love. And I hold them in the understanding that life goes on and we get the opportunity to honor their life by living and and still staying connected and still receiving the guidance from them, from the afterlife and us from this life, and to realize that everything does happen for a reason, and and it happens in perfect timing, and that's always a wonderful acceptance of the perfect timing of things. I mean, we couldn't have timed out the transition of my mother any better, uh, uh, being before I left for Thailand instead of after, um, or while I was in Thailand. It's just one of those energies that this whole plan of the universe is so powerful that we know that our spirit, our soul, our energy is not this bodysuit that we are wearing. It's just a temporary experience for us. And I think that's the way I look at it. And that's pretty much the way I deal with it. Even though I do get sad when I miss them, but that's my own human experience.
Thank you for sharing, Marilyn. Thank you. And Lee, I'd like to now throw that question to you.
Both Marilyn and I have been part of perhaps counseling for those who have lost the ones they've loved and all. And one of the things I see is it's really different from person to person. Mm-hmm. And the situations are different. So we all have, I would say, our own ways, and especially we have our own situation. Now, in my case, now I'm getting personal, and maybe people don't know that I was unexpected with my parents. And so they were in their late 40s when I arrived. I was very well loved, but I was unexpected. They had finished their family, and my two sisters were quite a bit older than I was. I have one that was 16 years older. I had one that was 10 years older. So they were both, one was married and gone, the other one was at school and gone. And in that particular case, I never really knew them that well because I grew up as an only child, even though I was one of three. But it sets a stage, does it not, for their passing? Because age and time moves along. So lost my mom when I was in my 20s, and then of course my father later, and of course my older sister, and then my younger sister. So I had never thought about it as a person in my family who was the youngest by a long shot. But after Dad passed, I realized, well, I'm going to have to deal with the sisters and all that. And I had my own method of dealing with it, and it's, I would say, probably more of a male method. And that is to, I think I would have simply fallen apart to realize that I was alone. I have 2 sons, so they're going to carry on the name, and they have children, and their children are going to have children. So it wasn't like the lineage was gone, but the family was gone, and I was alone. And what I did is I tend to put it in a drawer. Every single one of them went into a drawer. And the drawer was then opened when I wanted to do my grieving. And I opened it and closed it enough that I felt that I had done it, and I was, had grieved enough. And that's just me. I wouldn't suggest that for anybody. And if you're a psychologist watching this, probably not the most healthy thing. But that's what I did, and that's what worked for me. Now, when I look back, there's the element of sadness. Of course, you miss them. And Marilyn even said that. But it's not grieving anymore. And I tell people on anniversaries of those you've loved and lost, it's not a time of grieving, it's a time of celebration. So what I do is I think of them now and I celebrate their lives. Now here, turn the page, because here's the other part of it. And Marilyn mentioned it, and Kryon comes in and mentions it. And that is this. My oldest sister, she was a Mormon and had a Mormon family. My youngest sister was part of the Wycliffe Bible translators and went into jungles to carry the message of Christ with her husband. My parents were Presbyterian, and so I got from all of them, when Kryon arrived, I got, the evil stare. Like, what is it exactly that you think you're doing? And then, I always had and are you sure that it isn't Satan? So here we go. So the whole family was kind of like stacked against me in that, even to the last day of the last breath. And now what Kryon says is they're all very proud that I am carrying the light, not making any of those things wrong. Whether you're a Mormon or a Christian or whatever you're, and my sister comes to me every once in a while and says, remind them about the love. The love is in all of those belief systems. That's the main reason it exists. Remind them of the love. And Kryon says, I have them all in my life till my last breath, as I will my sons. That's the arrangement that Kryon has talked about, that very few of us even think about when it comes to soul sharing and how you remain at some level with your kids, even with your partner, and all those that you loved and lost. I've also had a few, as Marilyn has said, who left recently, very recently, and way too young. I'm having trouble, folks, with that. So can I just be honest? I haven't settled it yet. I will. But it's when I talk to Kryon, he says things like, it's okay, appropriate, you'll understand someday. Someday I will. Right now I don't.
Thank you. Beautiful answer. So the next question that I would like to ask both Marilyn and Lee is, have you ever had a pet animal that died? And if so, can you share your experience with us?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I have had pets die. I had one cat that was